Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Chris Williams, and I am a storyteller and an educator. And my friends at Create More, Fear Less asked if I could put together a video series about storytelling. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be honest with you. This one feels big. I feel like there's a lot to get through today. But before we do any of that, we're gonna do an activity to center ourselves, to reflect. We're going to kind of take a couple deep breaths. Relax, of course. And I want all of you to think about if you're anxious about something, if you're holding on to any anxieties or worries. So take a moment to do that. I'll do the same. And once you've done that, you can find something to write with and something to write on. I always use a piece of paper. And then you can have a little receptacle. I have a worry jar. I call it my worry jar. It's just a plastic jar. To put your worries in, or you can hold on to your worries if you want to. As always, I'm going to share my worries with you out loud. And I know I usually say that you don't have to share your worries out loud, but you don't. You don't at all. But I want to make sure you all understand that you can if you want to. Obviously, they're your worries. You can do what you want with them. So, if I'm thinking about it today, I think I have two main worries right now, concerns. I'm a little anxious about. For some reason, I really want this particular episode to go well, and I'm worried I'm going to run out of time, which is weird because I know I'm not, but I'm a little anxious about that. So I'm worried about this not going well. So I'm going to write that down. Not going well, or failing at kind of my job right now. And I'm also worried, once again, you guys can't see them, but I have two dogs around me, and I tell you what, if they hear anything, they're gonna bark, and they're gonna ruin this episode. So I'm a little anxious about that. And there's nothing I can do, because there's nowhere I can send them. I can't send them outside. They're just here, and they're being really good right now. So let's hope that lasts for another 10 or 12 minutes, okay? So my second worry is dogs. Ooh. So I'm not gonna hold on to worrying about this episode not going well. I'm sure it'll be fine. They always are. So I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna pop that into the worry jar. But I'll tell you what, I can't let go of this dog worry right now, because one of them is licking their paws right now, and the other one's just kind of smiling at me like he's purposely gonna bark when I've gotten through this a ways. So we'll see. I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna put it in my pocket. Okay. And as always, before we get into the main exercise, let's take a mood temperature. Mood temperature is just for you to kind of think about where you are in this space right now, how you're feeling, and what your mood is. It can be positive, negative, kind of in the middle, indifferent. It's totally up to you. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling lively. I'm feeling energetic. So that's where I'm at. We'll see if that all changes by the time we get to the end of this exercise. I don't know. Okay, so today's exercise, we're really, really close to actually telling a story, to telling our personal story. And today's exercise, we're gonna map out a little bit what that looks like. So by now, you should have some kind of idea of a story you wanna tell from your life. Doesn't have to be long, 3, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, totally up to you. But I'm gonna give us a way of mapping out kind of the bones of a story. And there's lots of different ways to do this. I wanna be very clear. This is not the only way to do this. And I'm actually borrowing this little outline, these bones, from Pixar. the people that make the animation. They kind of have this, what they call a story spine. I'm calling it bones. Story spines of just kind of how to go through kind of a formulaic story, right? Again, lots of different ways to tell a story, lots of different ways to tell your story. But I think this might be helpful for you to just think about as you start to think about your story, and then outline your story either on paper or inside of your head. It's totally up to you. So I'm gonna hold something up, and then I'm just gonna read what it says. So you can't see my mouth, but that's okay, you can hear me. So we have once upon a time, and every day, until one day, and because of this, and because of this, until finally, and ever since that day. Whew, so that's a lot, right? So what does that mean, Chris? What are you talking about? That was weird. So it's really just a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? I could have wrote that on the paper. It wasn't that exciting, and I didn't have like interesting colors to make that exciting. So what Pixar likes to do is they have a start, they have like their middle, and then they have their end. But I'm gonna go into just a little bit more detail about what each of these kind of mean for your story. And then when we're done with this, I'm going to record the storytelling episode kind of right after this, right? So I think that's why I'm actually so excited. I have so much energy. So let's start with the beginning. Once upon a time. Clearly you don't have to start with those words, right? Once upon a time is just for you to think about the beginning of your story, right? This is just kind of your point of view. It introduces who you are to the audience, and it gets them kind of primed and ready to learn some stuff about you. And now we go on to the and everyday portion. So this is where we kind of establish characters even more. You can begin to tell the audience like about your life, about the world that you live in. It kind of gets people to lean in, right? Like, oh, that's interesting. Really? Wow. And then we get into the until one day. So the until one day, something happens, and it throws off the main character's world. In this case, you. It kind of something changed, something's out of balance, and it forces you to either do something or to change something, or to get something. Like you have to get something to make things go back to the way they used to be, something like that, right? Basically, something's out of balance, and you're trying to establish what we call equilibrium. Okay, so next we have, and because of this, that's super simple. Your main character, which is you again, they just begin the pursuit of their goal, right? So we have the thing that happened that threw everything out of whack, everything out of balance, and then when we go to and because of this, it's the character pursuing the way to make things even again. And let me stop right there. Again, there's so many different ways to tell a story. I'm just using this, I'm borrowing from Pixar because I think it's helpful for people to look at it this way to tell their story. And you're gonna see that in the next episode, in the final episode. When I tell my story, I'm literally gonna give it these headlines between parts of the story that I'm telling. And you'll understand more of what I'm talking about when we get there. So we were at the first and because of this, and then we have a second and because of this, which is really just more of the character kind of pursuing their goal. During this time, they might be having difficulties. During this time, they might be getting closer and closer to their goal. It's really up to what happens in your actual story, right? So let me be clear too. Pixar, obviously, they're making stories up. These are fictional stories. The stories that we've been working on in this series are true stories. But I think you can still adapt your true story to this format. And again, the next episode, you'll see what I mean. So we did the second and because of this, and now we're to the until finally. Now until finally, it's like the act 3, right? It's the moment of truth in the story. If people were already leaning in, then by this time, like, their face is on the stage. Like, you can see what color their eyes are, and you can count the hairs in their nose. The noses. An example of this would be like, if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, which is a great movie in my opinion. But if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, there's the moment where Dorothy gets the witch's broom, right? That would be the until finally part of it. And then the last part of it is, and ever since that day. Super simple. It's just the ending. It's what did we learn? What do we have to take away from this story? What's the message, right? And you really kind of want to leave your audience with something. And I'm not saying it has to be positive at all, because all stories aren't positive, right? But you want to leave your audience with something. You don't want to leave people with this expression. Huh? Or like you see people looking at each other like, I don't understand what that was about. So the and ever since that day part is actually, in my opinion, really, really important. Just leave them on just a high note. And by high note, I don't mean like positive, where everybody's laughing. That's not what I'm saying. But just leave them where they're like, yeah, or like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Okay, so again, I'm going to hold this up. Take notes, pause it, do whatever you need to do. Once upon a time, and every day, until one day, and because of this, and because of this, until finally, and ever since that day. Okay, we're getting so close to the end. I want to thank all of you once again for joining me. I wish there was a way that those of you who are gonna tell a story could like let me see them or let me hear them. I'm super interested in that. Maybe we can figure something out. I don't know. I'll talk to our friends again at Create More Fear Less. Yeah. So as we end every episode, once again, we're gonna take our mood temperature, kind of see where we're at. Honestly, I'm still feeling pretty energetic, pretty good. I get excited about this kind of stuff. I love to talk about stories. Just imagining all of you thinking of your own personal story to tell and sharing that gets me excited. So yeah, my mood temperature is pretty much the same as it was in the beginning of this episode. But that's about it. So thank you again for joining me. If this is your first time, go back, check out some of the other episodes. There's a lot of fun exercises that we've been doing. And I'll see you again. Thank you. Bye.